So there is a configuration in the API somewhere, and I'll get you a link to it, that basically tells Envoy to drain connections for a certain amount of time. So what will happen is, you know, in a Kubernetes world, you're going to cycle a deployment or whatever. The pod gets sig term. It will, this configuration basically defines the time period in which Envoy will no longer accept new connections, but it will allow you to continue existing connections and allow them to finish up. So depending on what your requirements are, you can set that to, I think the default might be 30 seconds. I can't remember off the top of my head if this has changed, but at some point it does have to shut those connections down. So if you are, you know, if you have connections that are lasting for 5 minutes, then you can set it to 5 minutes. But you know, at some point, it does have to cut them off, right?
Yep. I think specifically the flag is shutdown grace period. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same one that applies when new configuration is pushed to Envoy as well, right? Which is the same fundamental behavior. We have to stop accepting new on this config chain and let it train. And I think in general, the rule of thumb that you should do, or a rule of thumb that would be safe always, would be to have that grace period be like double or at least 50% longer than your connection TTL. And that is assuming that you have pretty short-lived connections.
And if you're in a Kubernetes world, again, you need to make sure that the graceful termination duration or whatever the flag is in Kubernetes is obviously longer than that, because otherwise the container is just going to get shot.
Yeah, because those are all layered. Those things all layer and don't really interact with each other, right? But they're all just basically stopwatches that get started to turn down everything. So make sure that they're consecutive or they contain each other.